All right, let's get cooking. Welcome to the latest edition of Chin Check Sports Radio. I'm your host, JD. I want to thank you all for taking the time out to listen to us. And as always, we welcome any suggestions, feedback, comments, and criticisms, which improves the quality of our program, which ultimately improves your listening experience. The word irony is defined as a state of affairs or an event that seems deliberately contrary to what one expects and is often amusing as a result. Poetic justice is defined as the fact of experiencing a fitting or deserved retribution for one's actions. Which brings us to University of Alabama. Oh yes, I know this particular broadcast is going to upset half of the state of Alabama as well as their fans across the country, and I really could care less. This is going to be a hard dose of reality today, and this is what we do at Chin Check Radio. Now, before people want to twist my words and respond and react and get upset, let me say this. I respect Nick Saban. I respect what he has done. I think he is probably the greatest football coach, well, at least in my lifetime. He's definitely up there with one of the greatest college football coaches ever. Some people can argue maybe Pete Carroll, maybe Urban Meyer, but he does have the sustained excellence and the sustained success. Didn't work out in the NFL for him, but he's been around winning championships at LSU as well as Alabama. Of course, we know he's won titles in Alabama in 2009, 2011 and 12, 2015 and 2017. So clearly, Nick Saban knows what he's doing. Clearly, Nick Saban is a good coach, but I think great coach with obviously recruiting advantages. When you have the name recognition historically that Alabama has, and especially with his last decade of success, you definitely have upper hand in recruiting. I think now Clemson is starting to chip away at that. And it was a recent video that just emerged of Nick Saban dancing at a particular recruit's residence or appeared to be trying to recruit a young man to play for the football team. And I don't have a problem with that. Here's why I respect Nick Saban. On January 7, 2013, after destroying the University of Notre Dame in the national championship, as Nick Saban walks off the field, and again, this guy just won his second straight national championship, third overall. Well, fourth overall, but third overall at Alabama. And as Nick Saban walks off the field, the reporter asks him, well, coach, how do you feel? And something that he said, in a way, it actually really changed. I'm going to say this. It kind of made me look at life differently. It kind of affirmed what I felt about life. And I believe Nick Saban is a Capricorn, like me. And it did kind of not really change the way I thought, but it really affirmed what I felt and what I believed deep down inside. As he's walking off the field, Nick Saban says to this reporter when asked about how does he feel about winning a championship, he states, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he feels great. It's a good feeling. He's happy that the seniors were able to go out winning a national championship. But he said, I only have about 3 days to enjoy it because I need to get back to work to start preparing for the championship next year. So check this out. Now, this was the following year. The championship was in the Rose Bowl. But for that wild play against Auburn, they ended up not going for the national championship. And for this guy he just won 2 consecutive championships. His third championship in 4 years. And most coaches don't even get to one. Most coaches don't even win one. And this guy to win, and his attitude was, I can only enjoy this for 3 days because I have to get back to work to start preparing to defend our championship next season. That said a lot to me. That statement alone made me a Nick Saban fan. Not necessarily because of football coaching ability, was because that's how I feel deep down inside. Once you achieve something, once you accomplish something, you feel great, you did it, you earned it. let it go. Once you win the championship, once you get the piece of paper in your hand, once you get the promotion, once you get the diploma, once you get the certificate, once you get all the accolades, that's great. You take your pictures. Once it's in my hand, I mentally move on and let's focus on the next challenge. So by him saying that, I became a Nick Saban guy. So again, he has a success. Now, while we're here today, he made a huge blunder, and this is where that poetic justice and irony fits so well. Is now Oklahoma quarterback, former Alabama quarterback, Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts will be playing in the college football playoff his first year with the University of Oklahoma. And after I felt being treated wrongly and thrown to the gutter by the University of Alabama. Yes, I said thrown to the gutter. Because Jalen Hurts, as a true freshman, in 2016, completed 240 passes out of 382 pass attempts, 2,780 yards, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, quarterback rating of 139, went 14-1. Now, that 14-1 was in the national championship game against Deshaun Watson, who played an epic game. So as a true freshman, you take this storied program, especially in the recent years, a storied program, you win all your games and lose in a thriller against Deshaun Watson. As a true freshman, no shame in that. In 2017, 154 passes out of 255 attempts, 2,081 yards, 17 touchdowns, one interception. Loses only one game to the University of Auburn. So again, this kid, true freshman, sophomore, 2 losses in the 2 years he played. Now, 2017, they lose the Iron Bowl against Auburn, end up getting into the national championship playoff or the college football playoff. There was some debate if they even deserved the spot there, but that's neither here nor there. They get to the championship game, struggle against the University of Georgia in the first half. Second half, they put in another heralded freshman, Tua Tagovailoa. Tua Tagovailoa wins the football game, and the rest is history. And in 2018, Tua gets the start. And in 2019, sees the writing on the wall, transfers to the University of Oklahoma. Now, here's why I have an issue with that. This kid only lost 2 games. Again, a great epic performance by Deshaun Watson and lost in the Iron Bowl against Auburn. And yes, might have had a rough half against, at that time, a great Georgia defense. And Alabama fans, and here's my issue with Alabama fans. They were so quick to throw this kid to the gutter. They were so quick to tell me, well, Tua is better, Tua is better, Tua is so much better. Why is he throws the ball? I really couldn't get a thing. Why was Tua so much better? And they kept telling me that Tua was so much better. Now, if you go, and again, this is not against Tua Tagovailoa. So I just want to say this right now. It's not against Tua. Great kid, seems to be guided by his spirituality, comes from a great family. He seems genuine. He, great young man, not saying anything bad about Tua. So this is not a criticism on Tua. This is against the University of Alabama, Saban, and their fans for the treatment of Jalen Hurts. And this is celebrating Jalen Hurts. And so they put in Tua. Tua wins the game. Now, I tell people all the time, people have very selective memory when it comes to sustained success because that success hides the sins. And people forget that play before Tua threw that touchdown pass, he took an awful sack. And you can look at it as when they put Tua in that game, the University of Georgia hadn't prepared for Tua Tagovailoa. They prepared for Jalen Hurts. Played great defense in the first half. You pull this young man who has led your program for 2 years, only lost 2 games, you put Tua in the game. The next season comes, you say it's an open competition. Everybody knew that they were clamoring for Tua to play. You play Tua. Tua then beats up on mediocre teams, lights the world on fire, really hasn't played anybody. They get to the same University of Georgia who they just played the previous season, Tua does not have a good first half. Does not have a good first half. Again, playing against a solid defense. Does not have a good first half. Gets hurt. They put in Jalen Hurts, who ends up bringing the team back. That catapults them to the playoff, which ultimately got crushed by Clemson. And by the way, Jalen Hurts played a competitive game against Clemson. Tua gets crushed against Clemson. But that's neither here nor there. So my issues with it was, and I said back then that Jalen should have transferred after he was benched and disrespected on the national stage against the University of Georgia. And I have Alabama fans telling me, well, no, he should stay. He shouldn't leave. He should stay and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, that kid should transfer just on the gross disrespect that he was shown on national television. He should have transferred right then and there. He stayed. He was celebrated on ESPN being a good old boy. He was celebrated on ESPN. He was so selfless and, they have a great relationship and all this other nonsense. And when you come in, you save the program from losing against Georgia in the SEC championship game. They put you back on the bench. They put in Tua, and everything about Tua. Tua winning the Heisman. Everything was Tua. Of course, he enters the transfer portal, goes to the University of Oklahoma, who had 2 straight Heisman Trophy winners in Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Perfect offensive coach, Lincoln Riley. And now Jalen Hurts is in the college football playoff, which ironically, the University of Alabama is going to be watching the playoffs, and how the world could have been different if he still would have had Jalen Hurts. Now, another thing about Tua is he was, even before the hip injury, he was always injury prone, and I kept telling somebody who was an Alabama fan who didn't want to listen, I said, but you're telling me how great Tua is. He's good, but Jalen was good too, and Jalen is much more durable. While Tua gets nicked up, ankle here, knee here, he gets banged up. And let's face it, if you're getting hurt at a collegiate level, it's only going to get worse in a pro level. See Sam Bradford. So I never understood that, and I thought Jalen comported himself well, being benched and demoted. He cut his dreads during that time, and I thought he handled himself well. But I think oftentimes when you're a good old boy and you handle yourself well, people want to celebrate that, and I felt he should have transferred right after that Georgia game. He should have went ahead and transferred. I don't know if that would have affected his eligibility while playing, but he should have got the hell on right in and there. So I, for one, am glad that Jalen Hurts is getting a chance to play in the national championship game while the University of Alabama, all their fans, can watch him play in the college football playoff. So that's a little bit of irony. A good dose of poetic justice, because this is exactly what you Alabama fans deserve, because you were so quick to dump this kid, and he ended up taking his talents elsewhere to Norman, Oklahoma, and now you all can watch him competing for the national championship. And let's face it, he's played LSU before, so he might know a little bit something about LSU. Not saying they're going to win, but he might know a little something about LSU facing them in the SEC the 2 times that he has. So congratulations, Jalen Hurts. Well-deserved. Glad you got the opportunity that you were robbed of at University of Alabama. And just for that one day on December 28th, you have earned your right to be there. And I know, again, he's talking about how he's handling it with class and stuff like that. No, stop that. Fans are classless. So on this program, Jalen, we're going to call out the Alabama fans for you. And if Alabama fans don't like the particular broadcast, oh, well, I guess you're going to sit there and not like this broadcast. So congratulations, Jalen. Well-deserved. You deserve to be there, while the fans in Alabama, they deserve to watch you in the college football playoff on December 28th. So this is Chin Check Radio signing off.